Hope you guys are having a great week. I don't know if I have audio. This isn't even plugged in. Okay. But yeah, I don't have a intro for this week, so we're just going to kind of start now. But hello, and thank you all so much for being here. Hope you guys have a great week ahead of you, and that you guys had a great week. Let's see. Troy Sutton, Jesse's Girl at Lazy Days Ahead, and Grace and Fire. Lazy Days Ahead with Jesse and Lisa, and Broken Hearts Ministry, Miss Gail. Thank you guys all for being here.
Happy Sunday, and welcome to the Survival Seeds 2024 live stream. We've got a really great interview coming up. Hi, Grace NYC and Bubble Bubble. It's good to see you guys. Happy Sunday. It's Sunday. It's not Monday. Stop saying Monday. We're really excited to get to the interview today. It's going to be a really good one. But first, we got to do our hashtag updates, and we had, I think, 10 videos, if I counted right, that were posted this week. We had one from Lori's World, which was right here. Hang on. I'm going to put this up just so actually, no, those are wrong videos. So you got to type the. So we had one video from Lori's World, part 2 on learning to like squash. And that was, Lori's World always has some really great, very funny videos that are very enjoyable. So if you guys haven't seen them, I highly recommend you guys check those out. They're really great. Still trying to convince herself, Mr. Dave, and Mima how to like squash, and it's going. I hope you guys find a recipe you end up really liking, and lots of laughs. So definitely check out that video if you haven't seen it yet. Ormsby Farms, Mr. Casey is having a lot of trouble with deer in his garden. And despite this and the drought in his state, his garden's actually doing really beautifully. And his plants are growing really well, and his tomatoes are they're looking really good. So I hope you have good luck with the deer issue and that you're able to take care of that. Canadian family life. Hang on. Maybe close the other one.
No, it's not working.
Oh no. Okay.
Oh wait, no, there we go.
There we go. Canadian family life. Canadian family life has been their second misting device arrived in the mail, and if you guys haven't seen that, first of all, they have a really cool indoor setup, and they got a misting device recently, and basically it creates mist to water their plants. It is super cool to look at, and just like very peaceful to watch the mist come down and water the plants. So if you guys haven't seen their indoor garden setup and their mistifier, then definitely check that out. It's very cool. Robert Bates put up a video showing his little green tomatoes. His tomatoes are growing, and he has a lot of green tomatoes coming up. So I'm really excited for those to ripen up so that he can try those. There's nothing better than when tomatoes start getting harvested. They are just so good. Jamie's Country Living. Miss Jamie has put up some shade cloth over her plants to protect them from the sun. And she actually has to protect her plants from rabbits and squirrels, and she's got a little plastic container she puts over them. She's got a lot of squash coming. She's got a couple squash coming up, but I hope you're able to figure out a way to keep those squirrels and rabbits out of your garden, and so that your plants can keep growing. BNS Odyssey, Miss Beth put up a video updating her plants. She had to restart her plants because they had died. And so far, only her squash has come up. But despite that, her squash looks really good. It's getting pretty big, and they're doing well. I hope you are able to get a crop out of the other plants and the other seeds you planted. Brazen Fire, Miss Glenda went live to shell some pinto beans. Her beans started ripening, and she dried them off outside. She let them dry up on the vine, and you shake them and you can hear the beans that they're dry. And so she was shelling them and taking the beans out so she could save the seeds for next year, which is kind of like the big goal of this entire collaboration, is that you can save the seeds for the next year. So it's really exciting that she's already able to start doing that. Joyfully Orange Deborah. Miss Deborah put up a July update, and her plants are unbelievably tall. She's got a great system going. She's got trellises, and she ties up and trims her plants. And you can tell because her plants look so healthy. And especially her cucumbers and tomatoes are very tall, and so they're doing very, very well. Grace NYC, Miss Grace put up a update on her plants, and Luffy, I love that chicken. He is so cute.
She's so cute.
Cutest chicken. And her plants are doing really well, so I'm really excited to see how everything goes, and I love that chicken. And Garden State So-and-so showed her plants after a much-needed rain, and they're all thriving. Her plants are doing so well, and they're very big and doing very well, and I'm glad she got that rain, because especially when you're having a hot season, rain can be really good for your plants. So I'm glad that everything is going well. And that is it for the Survival Seeds hashtag updates. And without any further ado, we can bring up
Luffy.
She's so
Aww.
cute.
All right.
We can bring up our co-host, Mr. Charles.
Hello.
Hey, Mr. Jesse. Hey, Miss Lisa.
Hey, how y'all doing?
I like your shirt.
Oh, thank you.
Thank
Appreciate that. I like it too.
So
It
much.
keeps me warm.
So how are you guys doing?
Oh, we're doing good. It's been a great week.
It's so nice.
It's so
to
nice
have
to have
AC.
power again.
Yes.
So
That's great.
when,
I'm so glad I came back
when-
on last
when
week.
you go six days and 14 hours without power, you learn to appreciate it.
Right.
This sounded awful.
Right.
You know, you
Right.
can operate for a while.
Yeah, and I wanted to make mention that on one of those videos you were talking about, I think it was Deborah's. She had all those. She had an awesome garden. I mean, she's.
Oh, yeah.
And she kept saying, "If I can do it, you can do it." And you know what? I think you can. And she proved it, because she had, I mean, a ton of stuff growing like. And then you had somebody like Beth, poor Beth Neal, and she says, "None of my seeds are growing." It's like she had the garden on the pallets. But it's like
Hey, Mom?
it's amazing how just one is just like wow, and then another one is just like nothing. It's like crickets, right?
Yeah.
It's like wow. But to each his own, I guess. And then who was it that had the 4 foot tomato? I can't remember which one now. They're all running together. It may have been Grace. Maybe it was Grace. Was it Grace, New York City?
That was Grace. I want to say that.
Yeah, they had the 4 foot inside the greenhouse area. I mean, it's like it was taller than Lisa almost. But yeah, it's amazing to see the differences in not only the growing techniques but just the results, right? I mean, because it's amazing that how different things grow in different parts of the country.
Oh, yeah.
And then obviously Robert Bates, he blows it out of the park every week, with all his shorts and stuff. And then Glenda, did you see all the seeds that Glenda pulled out? In fact, you said there was 11. There's actually 15 videos, 2 of which are NA, so that makes it 13. And then one of those was a repeat, because she started a video and had to end it after 6.
She's 6 foot now.
Oh, it's 6 foot now. Grace says, "Oh wow."
Wow.
But so
Neat.
one of us, so it's so that makes it like 12 videos. But where was I going with that?
Glenda.
Oh, Glenda, did you see all the beans that she pulled it, because she let them dry? They had like 55 or 56 beans, so now she has enough to plant for another garden, and it's still still can pull more out between now and winter. So that's going to be awesome to see. But yeah, she did a great job on those beans.
She did.
Too bad they weren't pinto beans. Anyway, I'll shut up. Let me show you what we got here as far as the stats are concerned. Like I said, he had 15 videos since last week, of which 2.5 were ours. Then you got 48 so far this month of video of the month updates,
Right.
and a total of 58 videos so far for July. And it's starting to taper down. I can see, with the heat that things are slowing down across the nation. And August, I can imagine it's just going to be really, really hot for most everybody.
Although my butternut squash is doing really good.
Oh,
Yeah.
I never thought it would, and So I've got two different plantings going, and they're actually both doing really well, but one is, I think,
Is this one of them?
yes, that's the one that's doing really good.
Wow.
And I think the squash come out almost like suckers on a tomato plant. Is that correct? The squash will come out on the. Okay,
Yep.
so I've got a bunch of those coming out already.
Is it this one here?
Great.
And then that's the next planting. So
Oh,
um,
wow.
and that was really good.
That
And
is
I have one little beet that's about an inch. The leaves.
no.
It survived, but I don't know if it still will. It's questionable. But other than that, that's all I got going.
Your squash look great.
That is awesome.
Yep. So
It's fun to see. It's like, yay, something's growing.
especially in this Texas heat, it's really, we have to use either shade trees or shade cloth. Otherwise, you'd get burned up.
Oh yeah, I bet.
Yeah. And it's been like in the 90s, high 90s, like 98, 99, feels like 109, that kind of stuff here lately. And we're not even in August yet, which is our hottest month.
Man, that sounds like it's really hot over there. I'm glad you got your power back.
Right?
Yeah, I know. Otherwise, we're just like, we're living inside, but it feels like you're outside because it's the same temperature.
Right.
Yeah, it'd be a different kind of survival show if we didn't have power again this week. It wouldn't be survival seeds, I'll tell you that right now.
To survive. It was taking its toll, though. I don't know how people do it.
Especially
don't.
especially the elderly. The elderly really suffer. I mean, here in Texas, at least, if they don't have power.
Yeah.
Yay. Hey, Bunky.
Hey, Bunks.
Hello. All right. So Bunky's got some survival. She was asleep.
Sleep.
Bunky's got some survival seed stuff to show.
Yep,
Aw.
I have beans, and they're looking better. They're starting to get a little bit yellower than last week, so they're definitely going to be harvested and drying soon. Then next to that, we have the onions and beet bed, and we added nitrogen. And hi, Lou. And they're doing wonderful. Not as good as the other ones, though, but they're doing really well. And then you've got peppers. I've got peppers now. I'm really happy about that and excited. And under the pepper picture, you can actually see that the entire pepper plant is it's got like 2 peppers already. So I'm happy about that.
Yeah.
And next to the whole picture of the pepper plant at the bottom is my squash. And squashes, they're still small.
They're funky sized.
Well, I see peppers, but where's the salt?
No.
And then the last one is a tomato. We've got two containers with the tomato plants, and both of them have tomatoes. So I'm really happy about that.
That is great.
Cool.
So
Doing good. Doing good.
Careful.
As she slips away quietly.
all right, I'm going to go over chat one more time, and then we're going to bring up Mr. Rem's Family Farm. We're going to talk about saving money while prepping, I think.
Let me pull up your notes.
Grace, Christy Betts, Jennifer Ocean Homestead, Be Charming, Mike's Chaotic Gardening. Thank you guys so much for being here. Ginger Ninja, Andale Homestead, Rambling with the Frums. Welcome to my Cape Cod life. Grace and Fire, and anyone else I missed. Thank you guys all for being here. We really appreciate you. All right, one moment. There we go.
Hey, Remy.
How's it going? You hear me?
Yes, we can hear
Yes.
Good. Never sure. The kids play with the computer sometimes and they mute the mic.
you.
How are you to have you up here?
Yeah, it's nice. I've had a very, very busy weekend, but I'm just happy to be sitting down for a few hours. I did my chickens today, and then we went to the community garden to remove some weeds.
Nice. All right. So I have a couple questions, but mostly I was thinking this could be a little free flow because it's something that you can probably just share what you think is important on. But to kind of kick things off, what is the benefits of trying to save and prepare on a budget?
I'm sorry. Can you just repeat the question? It's cutting a little bit. I don't know if it's on your end or on my end, but
Sorry. What are some of the benefits of trying to prepare and save on a budget?
well, there's always, one of my boss keeps telling me that you need to have money put aside. You have to store some money in case of emergency. I don't have any money to put aside. I have just one salary coming in for a family of 7. My girlfriend is not able to work at the moment. For me, putting money aside in case of emergency is just impossible. But if I ever lose my job or if something ever comes up, I have food for like at least a year. And it's a very good feeling to have. And I don't know, it's just a stress that we don't have to worry about.
Right.
Because I got 4 freezers. Of course, they're not full now because winter's done and we didn't start harvesting yet.
Right.
But when we go hunting or we butcher our chickens, I did 50 chickens this year, so we have chicken per week basically.
Wow, that's impressive.
Were you able to get a moose this past winter?
Last year I did. It was a pretty big one too. I ended up with about 260 pounds of meat. The moose was 657, and we split that in 3. Unfortunately, the draw this year, my name didn't come out. So either I find a friend to bring me along, or I just go for another animal, I guess.
That's super. That's
Sorry,
very
but-
cool. That's
Yeah.
very cool. Congrats. And when you buy things in bulk, do you try to wait till they're on sale, or do you just do it as they come?
Well, one of the things I like to do is every time I go to the grocery store, I look for sales, especially canned goods, stuff that will last for long. I enjoy eating beans, like the maple flavored beans.
Yeah.
Sometimes they'll go on sale for like $1 a can. And I'm the only one here to eat them. But if I get them on sale, I'll buy like a dozen of them, and I'll have like at least one a week for, on Sunday mornings, it's usually everybody gets up here on their own time. So we don't really have like a full breakfast and a lunch. And the kids are pretty independent at the moment. They're old enough to do their own thing. So I just get up, get a can of beans, and I'm good for the day until supper. We usually have a family supper on Sunday. But it's buying in bulk, looking for sales. Those are all different things that you can look. There, even if you think about toilet paper, it goes on sale every once in a while for like $12 at Superstore if you're a member, but it's free to be a member. So we just wait until they go on sale, and we buy like 10 packs, and they last for like 4 or 5 months.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah, and we save a lot of money by doing that.
Now, I know when we try to buy in bulk and keep things in advance, we have to keep an eye on expiration dates. Just recently, we had some boxed almond milk in our basement that went badly last year, and we didn't find out until now. So how often, if at all, do you check your expiration dates?
Well, I try to check at least monthly. Working in a pharmacy, I guess it's just something that I got used to because every month we have to go and flip our inventory. And if we know that something's about to expire, we can use it right away. I had some beans that were expiring in August. Obviously, they were not my favorite kind, but I sacrificed them. I ate them. The more you turn around, you flip your inventory, you get new stuff, you put them in the back. You just always eat the ones in the front. That way it's easier for you to keep track of everything that you have. Even everything that I can on my own, I'll put the dates on them, and I always put them in the back. Like if I do once I do my carrots this year, well, actually we're out, so it's not a good example. We have some beans from last year. They'll be in the front. We'll put the new ones in the back, and we always have that rotation going.
That's awesome. So what are your favorite things to keep an eye out for when you're shopping? Your favorite things to just have on hand, like for regular use?
I was talking about that to my girlfriend today. How when we go to the local nurseries, they don't really have plant sales or things like that, because all the fruit trees, for example, they'll keep them for next year, right? But if you go to a place, we have Canadian Tire here, or a place like Walmart, at the end of the season, they want to get rid of everything because they don't have any way to store those fruit trees. You might get, I don't know, a blueberry bush on sale, 50% off. Sometimes so loaded that you'll pay $5, and right off the back, you get like $10 worth of blueberries on that bush. Then if you don't save it, or if it doesn't survive the winter, at least you still got your money's worth of blueberries. And if they survive the winter for the next year and you're able to keep that bush alive, then you have blueberries pretty much the rest of your life, right?
Awesome.
That's what I try to do. I always, like every weekend, I'll go to a few, not like the private nurseries, but like those big corporations, and just try to look for any fruit trees or any fruit bushes that could, be interesting for my family. I have a bunch of grapevines here, blueberries, honeyberries, gooseberries, red currant, white currants. I try to get them all, and then I will just propagate them on my own. And
nice. That's awesome. That's really good. Cool. Do you do coupons? We have a few people in our community who enjoy clipping coupons and using those. Do those help any?
I know in the States it's very popular, but here in Canada we always have limits on the amount we can use. Like it's usually, and we don't have $5 off. If it's 50% off, you can still use it. It's usually just one at a time. If we have a 50% sale, we can use a coupon, or we do when we find some, especially like at fast food restaurants. Like if we want to treat the kids and go to McDonald's, we have a few coupons for like get one kid's meal free if you buy one, or things like that. But we don't really have those coupons like you guys have in the States. It doesn't really work the same way. But sometimes we'll get like, save $1 on a box of, I don't know, Kleenex or whatever, something like that.
Well, that makes sense. Interesting. And how do you store what you buy to save?
If I'm busy, I put stuff in my freezer if I have space. But as the summer goes, and as soon as I have some free time, I try to can as much as possible. I still have some frozen tomatoes from last year, but I'm just hoping to have enough this year to make like a batch of spaghetti sauce or salsa. We still have some salsa from last year. For some reason, the kids don't really enjoy it, but I do. So I'm going to have to eat it all by myself. But there's some things that you can dehydrate. There's some things you can just freeze and then use it later. I like to use the stuff for canning, but sometimes, especially at this time of year, I was done with my chickens today, but it's just always busy to go and feed them because I don't have them here. I'm not allowed to have them here, so I have to drive. Well, it's only 5 minutes away, but still I have to go there, feed them, take care of them, make sure they're all right. Now that I don't have the chickens, I would think that I would have more time to do those things, but garden season is right in the middle of it, and within a week from now it's going to be harvesting pretty much on a weekly basis and even daily basis. So I'm just going to bring everything in the freezer, and as soon as the summer's done, I'm going to take everything and just start cooking and canning and dehydrate whatever I can. I just use the freezers to save some time, or to buy some time, I should say. because you don't want to have a freezer full of food and go out of power, and
Right.
you're stuck losing everything. So it's always good to have a plan B.
Right.
So Remy, so where's the cheapest place to buy, like you said, canning supplies and stuff up there in Canada?
Walmart is usually the cheapest place, but
Okay.
right now for a case of 12 mason jars, it's around $18-19. It went up. It used to be like $10-11. I don't know if yard sales are popular in the States. They're pretty popular here. We just drive around with the kids. They always enjoy, buying secondhand stuff. And I'm with them. I always look around to see if I can find some mason jars. I ended up buying a case for $5 a couple of weeks back. I just save them as soon as I find them.
Yeah, we've found them at thrift stores and stuff like that too. But one thing I wanted to mention, a little tip that we always do is when we go to Walmart, we always use the Walmart app. Let me tell you why, because we have found mason jars on the shelf price, let's say $13, $14, but the app still has them on sale for $9.
Oh.
They will give you the lower price at any
nice.
of the Walmart.
Because it actually is a Walmart.
Because it's a Walmart app. So if you find it on the app for $9 and the shelf says 13, you get it for $9. And
Wow.
they've ordered it, and that's even at the self checkout. So all you got to do is tell the lady, and they'll come fix it. And so always use the Walmart app when you're in Walmart. Never buy anything without looking at it. If you might find it cheaper.
Nice.
That's super cool. Good to know.
Yeah.
And when it comes to, like, say you get a box of cereal or something, if you have those on hand a lot, do you can those too, or do you leave them in their boxes as long as physically possible?
Well, they usually don't last very long. With 5 kids, you can imagine that all those things that kids enjoy, they never really last for long.
Right.
We might have some rice every once in a while. We'll buy a bag, but the dates on them, if they're sealed properly, they can last for up to 2-3 years.
Oh, nice.
We just put them in a cool, dry place, and we just make sure the cat doesn't go after the bag. We had some beans a while back, and the cat went and opened the bag, so we had to.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, but it happens.
When did you make the decision?
What? Our camera's on.
It's fine. When did you make the decision to start prepping?
Well, obviously in 2020, when everything happened, working at the hospital, we were asked to stay in our office as much as possible during our breaks, and having nothing better to do, I figured, all those years I wanted to have a garden. I wanted to learn how to forage. I wanted to learn how to raise animals. I figured I'm not going to have anything better to do than just go and learn and grab all that information. And once I got home, obviously we couldn't get out. So I had all the time in the world to build a few coops, to start my garden, to make some friends online and discuss about different things that we could do. I'm taking an online foraging class with a lady from Fredericton, which is about 3.5 hours away from here.
Oh, nice.
And, I've learned so much that I can get lost in the woods and survive on everything I find, just like that. And I spend my whole life in the woods, and I never even knew that half the things you see is actually edible. You just have to make sure you know what it is.
Right. And we have a lot of mushrooms around here, and some of them are really popular for foraging, and some of them are really toxic. So it really helps to know what it is that you're going to try to eat.
To be careful.
Yeah, and you can always just do a research about not the safest one, but the easiest one to find. When I started, I was really afraid, but I was looking, okay, chanterelle, it's a very easy one to identify. I had someone with me to show me on hand what it was, show me the difference between the lookalikes. And I'm sure everyone that has family living close to the woods or whatever, you've been through some foraging when you were younger without even knowing that it was called foraging. We have some long beaks hazelnuts here. We used to love them and sell them to make a little bit of money as kids. When you make $200 a week just by selling nuts, and you're only 10 years old, I mean, that was incredible.
That's super cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's still a lot of money today. So imagine back then.
Right.
You know, we used to harvest wild strawberries, blueberries, raspberries. There's a lot of wild apple trees around here. You can just go and grab the food. I mean, those are easy things to identify. You don't need to worry. If you find an apple, you know what an apple looks like. I don't know if it's the same thing in your part of the world, but there's a lot of wild apple trees here, or fruit trees in general. And I mean, they grow everywhere.
Right. On our property alone, we have what are they called? Autumn olives and wild grapes that we can just like throw in a jelly or just eat while we're outside. Yeah.
Nice.
Autumn
You
olives.
talking about grapes, I was at my friend's this morning doing the chickens, and we do half and half. We do like half of his and half of mine's, and then 2 weeks later we do the same thing. So we end up like having a few chickens each on the first week, and we finished everything today. So when we went behind the property to get his chickens, I looked in the woods because obviously now I'm kind of interested in every single tree I see and every plant I see. And I noticed like those grapevines, and I told him, I said, "Hey, like you have some grapevines back there." And what happened is she thought the vine was dead. She threw it back there in her chicken compost. Well, she threw all the chicken poop back there. And seriously, in a year and a half, it was like 10 feet high.
Whoa.
Wow.
That's
It was full.
Oh,
I'm like, as soon as I get home, I'm taking that chicken poop and putting it all around my graves to see what happens.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
Let's see. With the things that you can forage, or even like fresh foods, do you can that often, or do you just try to keep it with the processed stuff you want to keep long term?
There's a few things you can keep long term, but most of those plants that you will forage are either things that you can dehydrate for tea, like we have fireweeds, dandelion roots, chicory roots, and a few things like that. Pine needles, shaga. Those are things that you can drink in a tea. There's a lot of berries that you can find in the woods. We have the wintergreens and all those other ones that I said earlier.
Do you have fiddlehead in your area?
Yeah, we do. I have about 50 pounds frozen, all in 1 pound portion. So we have 1 pack a week. I try to have at least 50 of everything. And we have at least 1 meal of fish a week, 1 meal of chicken. We can either do chicken soup or chicken wings, or we can do chicken burgers, or, there's always different ways you can eat the animal, but at least we have
chicken tacos.
Chicken tacos. Very good. Very good.
You were talking about berries. Do you do anything with elderberries?
We have a lot of red elderberries. Fortunately, from what I understand, they're very toxic unless you really know how to use them. We have some black elderberries around here. I've never found any in the wild, but I have a few ones on my property that I planted myself. They're still too small, though I started them from cuttings last year. I have some flowers, though. Hopefully, I'll be able to try it out this year and see what it tastes like.
So yeah, unless you cook them, it looks like the berries are generally poisonous.
Yeah.
Which I didn't know. Which I did not know. But you probably need a lot. Yeah, you probably need a lot. They're like that big. Our mom likes processing them into a syrup, so I think she was asking about that. They're really, really good food.
Nice. The red ones?
We have black ones. We have black ones here.
Okay, the black ones. Okay. Yeah, the black ones are most common, like edible. Usually people will use them for syrup and things like that.
That sounds good. Elderberry jelly. That sounds good.
Mm-hmm. I've seen people do mint jelly, wild grape jelly, choke cherries jelly, all those jelly, like even fire weeds. I guess it's pretty delicious. I've never tried the jelly, but I use it in a tea, and it's lovely.
Oh, wow. You guys have any questions for him?
Well, I was going to ask about you mentioned wild apples. Is are those very hard to get to? I mean, they're like miles away, yards away, feet away. How far away are we talking when you go? Say you can find wild apple
Well,
trees.
when I go, let's just say I go grouse hunting in the fall, I'll drive maybe 10 minutes and see maybe 10 wild apple trees. We have an old orchard as soon as we get out of the street here, and the apples are right there. We're all free to go and get them. As soon as you go in the woods, all over the village, if you go like maybe half a mile in the woods, there's a trail, ATV trail going parallel to the main road, and it's full of apple trees all over the place.
Oh, wow.
So that means you probably have a ton of deer come through there then too. I don't know what other animals like moose or whatever might want to eat those apples as well.
I was telling my viewers about a month ago how we don't really have much deer up here. We have a lot of snow, and the winters are very hard on the deer, and we have a lot of cuttings in the woods. So when a deer happen to end up in a cutting while being chased by a coyote, they don't stand like a chance. But 2 weeks after saying that, I had seen like six deer just driving from here to work. And apparently they're very, there's a lot of them this year. So hopefully we have another nice winter and they can start coming back a little bit. But we see a lot of bears and grouse. Those are the ones.
Now, are they different varieties, or are they all the same variety? Like, are they all crab apple? What do you know what varieties they are?
I wouldn't know all the different kinds, but I can tell you that I found some golden delicious, some red delicious. I have some that has pink flesh on the inside.
Wow.
I know we have Cortland. Basically, they're all mixed. I mean, you can drive 500 meters and have 10 different apple trees, and they're all different variety.
Varieties, yeah.
I'm trying to get like a few hair grafted and bring them here and see what happens.
Yep.
Wow.
That'd
be nice.
That'd be nice. Yeah, that and wild berries,
Yep. I want to have some hazelnuts here. I want to have like everything that grows in New Brunswick, especially in my growing zone. I'm zone 4. I want to have it here. I want to have stuff so that my kids can go out and enjoy. Just going out, eating strawberries fresh from the garden, raspberries, white currants. I was on vacation for a week last week, and I was just so happy to go out with my coffee and go eat breakfast right out in the garden. There's no better feeling.
Right.
That's living life to the fullest.
You mentioned earlier about your chickens, that you have basically a chicken a week if you wanted to. Now, are these just regular hens that you're raising, or are they meat birds that you raise in the meat bird cage?
They're meat birds. We call them meat kings.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and you do that as part of your sustainability, or are you doing that for money? Are you doing it to sell?
I did the math. It comes up to about $13 a chicken, which is roughly the same cost as what we would get at the grocery store, but you get them at 2.5 to 3 pounds at the grocery store. Mines are between 5 and 7 pounds.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
More meat for family. It tastes better, obviously, because the one at the store, I'm always sick if I eat it. I end up saving money because on the chicken, once we're done, I usually have some leftovers for sandwiches or hot chickens for the next day or a few days later if I want for work. So I save money. It's better for my health. It's better tasting. They're bigger. There's more.
Yeah.
Right. And obviously, you probably have some laying hens as well, right?
Yeah, I'm not allowed to have them at home, but I live in an agricultural village. For some
Right.
reason, we're only allowed to have 4 chickens. If you
Okay.
go in the city next to here, 20 minutes away, they're allowed to have 6. Nobody understands why.
Okay, but you can get some eggs out of them, you know, which is better.
Yeah,
than
well,
nothing.
they told me as long as I don't go crazy, they would allow me to keep my hens. I'm not allowed to have a rooster, and they don't want me to have my meat chickens here. But I have them on a friend's property about 4 minutes away where he's allowed to have them. He's in a rural agricultural zone, so he's allowed to have them there.
Oh,
Trey, you're free to speak. You don't have to raise your hand.
I know. I'm trying to refocus the camera. It goes blurry for no reason.
Yeah. Oh, it looks good now.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had to use my hand to fix it. Trying to think of any other questions.
No, but there's been a lot of good comments in here as little tips and tricks and stuff, and where to look for some 60% off sales. I guess there's like a Princess Auto or something over there or up there that might sell canning goods or stuff for canning. I don't know. I guess it's like a Walmart. I don't know. Princess Auto.
And Jennifer's mentioning there's a lot of apple trees around here, and she knows she lives not too far from here. And I think she has a lot of them on her property as well.
And the things you can make just with apples, applesauce, you can make apple pie, you can make apple butter. What's that?
Apple syrup.
Apple cider vinegar. There's so many uses.
Apple cider vinegar, just the things you can make with apples. That's what I'm intrigued. My mother-in-law has 1 now or 2. She thinks she has 2 apple trees in her backyard, and the things they can get just from those apples is like amazing. Not to mention the pie.
Apple
And another
butter.
way to save money with fruit trees, share with your friends, share with your family. You certainly have a neighbor that has a few plum trees, maybe. I have a colleague with plum trees. They have too much. I go there.
Especially if you don't can or you don't save. Yeah, give them out, give them away. Let somebody else do something with them instead of letting them go to waste.
And if you give some away, it will come back to you some other way. Like I like to think that if you do a good deed, something good will happen to you.
And something somebody doesn't think about: tuna fish with apples is one. Lisa makes tuna fish with apples. Oh, and my goodness, you would not believe how good it is.
Oh,
Nice.
you just cook
Tuna
it.
fish and apples.
Like you just cook it with the apples.
No. Tuna fish for sandwiches.
You just make
Tuna in your mayo, and then cut up an apple and mix it in with it.
and it is amazingly good.
That is
It's
cool.
better cold.
It's better if it's cold.
Oh, okay. I was thinking you were just like cooking it like one would with like salmon. You were sticking an apple in there, and I couldn't figure out how that was working.
No.
Chop it up.
Some people they'll put a celery or they'll put pickles or they'll put maybe even some grapes. I don't know, but we've been putting tuna fish and apples for years and years and years. We love it. That's the only way to eat tuna fish, I believe.
Yeah, our mom does spaghetti sauce with apples, Miss B. I think for a while when Dad was trying to do vegetarianism, instead of putting meat in the spaghetti sauce, she put in apples. It was really good. Vegetarianism didn't work out very well for Dad.
And if you got 7 kids or 8 kids at the house, including you, Remy, you want stuff to go a long ways, and you add celery or you add pickles or whatever. It makes that tuna fish go a lot further.
Right.
So,
Yeah,
helps
definitely.
stress it.
yep.
Another way you can save money is hunting fishing. I know you've talked about hunting last week. The kids bought a rod and a reel for like $20, $25. Mackerel here is very popular, and it's time for that right now. My 2 oldest are gone fishing at the moment. And we're allowed to keep 12 mackerel per person per day,
Oh, wow. That's
which
awesome.
is pretty cool. Yeah, but we
Holy
usually
mackerel.
bait.
Holy mackerel.
We use it for bait, though. We use it for bait for bass fishing.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Still pretty
I
good.
always thought the fishing licenses were very hard to get up in Canada, or you had to be was lottery system or something.
The only thing really we can fish that we require a license is salmon and trout, but we can't keep the salmon, so nobody buys a license to fish that. We get a license for trout. We are only allowed to keep 5, but anything that's tidal water, we're free to go. You could come over for a bit and we can go bass fishing.
Okay, but the salmon you can fish for it, but you have to throw it back.
Yeah,
if you
it's catch and release only.
Wow. Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah, there's not enough. It was changed like maybe 9 years ago, maybe 10 years. Yeah.
Okay, so that's the fishing that I've heard of is hard to get then.
Yeah. But that's only New Brunswick. You go on the Quebec side, they're allowed to keep them. And it's the same river. Nobody understand. I can buy my non-resident license. It would be a little bit more expensive, but I could go fish salmon on the other side of the bridge.
Wow. That's
Same
really
river. Same
Yeah,
river.
but if you get pulled over on your side of the bridge by the game warden, you have to
Give it up.
how you gonna prove? Yeah, how you gonna prove where you?
As long as I have my license, I would have my tag with it. I'd be fine.
Oh, okay.
Gotta have it tagged.
wow.
Yeah. Wildlife says I'll catch them and release them into my pan.
Yeah. But the rangers are very, very strict on the river here, Restigouche River. Like it's a world-renowned river, and they're always watching everywhere. You can be fishing legally, and they can come to you like 10 times during a week just to double check to make sure you have all your papers, that you don't pass your limit and things like that. They're really picky on the fishermen.
Wow.
Now these are only you're talking about on public waters. If you have a private pond on your property, you're not talking about that as well.
No, that's a different story. You can go like a private pond where you have to pay for fish and you can catch as many as you want.
I got you.
As long as you have your receipt showing that you bought it there, or you have a piece of paper proving that you didn't fish them.
Right.
That's really interesting.
Yeah, but there's a lot of people will think that like just lake trout or brook trout, they kind of taste muddy when they're in a private pond like this. But we have the rainbow trout not too far, and that fish is delicious, even if it's grown. Like they give them feed, right, and they get bigger faster, but they don't keep that feed taste. But if you have the brook trout, they do. It's weird. The rainbow trout is pretty good.
Huh. Interesting.
So do you fish often, and then what do you do with it?
I try to go as often as possible. Last summer, I didn't really have a chance to go because it was basically raining all summer. But the previous year, I went for mackerel and bass, and I caught a few trout as well. Yes, it's we get like just on one side of the fish, we get a meal for the family. So if we get one bass, it's 2 meals. I fillet them, and then we can either just fry them in the pan with salt, pepper, and butter, or we can make fish cakes, or just the bechamel sauce. So good. The striped bass is one of the best fish. White meat, it's delicious.
That's super cool, and you can do so much with the fish. That's awesome.
Yeah, and it's not expensive. It's free.
Wow.
We can go at the beach. Like, I mean, of course, if you have a boat or you can find someone to bring you on the water with a boat, you have a lot more chances of catching fish. But even being next, like right at the beach, we can have a little fire, cooking hot dogs and burgers and things like that with the kids. They can play in the water, and I can be fishing and still get a bite and get a fish. Those fish don't mind, even if you're making noise in the water. They'll come close if they want to. So even if we go and we don't catch anything, I mean, the kids are having fun playing in the water, making sandcastles, looking for rocks or what kids do.
You say the beach. You're talking about the Ristigouche River has a beach, or you're talking about the beach of the bay, or
We have the bay, what we call Baie des Chaleurs. We have the Gulf here, I think it's Gulf Saint Laurent. It's a beach. It's salt water.
okay.
So we have the striped bass coming in, mackerel, smelt, especially in the winter. There are some trout and salmon coming in, but the only ones allowed to keep them are the natives, First Nation. They put nets anyway, so nothing really passes through.
And with the fish that you catch, do you use them all pretty immediately? Have you considered canning?
I'm not used to can my fish. It's just I started canning like maybe 2 years ago. What I usually do is either eat them fresh or I freeze them.
Oh, okay.
Once they're in a fillet, I vacuum seal them, and they last for over a year usually.
That's super cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's free food. I mean,
Right.
$25 for a can, rod and reel once with line and everything fully equipped, and you can go fish for like 10 years before you need to change a line.
Wow. And with that fish that you can like keep for a year in your freezer, does it help out when it gets cold and you don't want to be outside fishing?
Oh yeah, definitely. In the winter, the only fishing we can do in the winter around here is for smelts, and those are tiny fish. We'll go for a day, get a lunch or maybe 2 lunches, but in the summer you want to go out as much as possible. I didn't have a time to go yet this year. The kids are gone now. Like I said, if they catch anything, I'm probably going to go Tuesday. You have to go when the water is high, but you have to go around this time of year as well. If it's too warm, it's not good. If it's raining too much, it's not necessarily good. There's so many different things to consider. But then, like, you also have to live. I play softball in a semi-competitive league, so we play twice a week. It's the days off are for softball or the kids.
Right. So what about on the lakes there in the wintertime? Can you do some ice fishing?
The closest lake that's legal to go ice fishing is about an hour away.
Okay. You probably obviously have to have a fishing license for that as well.
Yeah, you need, but I think it's only, someone told me last winter, it's only about $15 for the winter.
Right.
It's not that bad for someone that goes often, but I don't have a snowmobile. It's hard for me to drive around, but there's a place. I say an hour in the winter. It's maybe like 45 minutes in the summer, where they stock the lake, so we can go fish in the winter. But I've never been there. I don't know if it bites or not.
Yeah.
It'd be nice to go though. I want to go. I want to travel, but busy times.
Life happens, right?
Right.
Right. And I think it's super cool what you're doing because you're like making a bonding experience out of it as well. Right.
Yeah. Well, especially like I try to get the kids involved in bringing in food as much as possible, but for them going out harvesting carrots from the garden to bring inside to clean them and cook them, they don't really enjoy that. They'll go out and eat a strawberry right off the plant, but the other vegetables not so much. But if you bring them fishing or hunting, then they enjoy being out in the nature. They enjoy the little thrill you get when you get a bite, and they bring food. Like my son, first trout he caught, he got home, he wanted to cook it right away. He ate it right away.
Right.
You learn how to cook it. I showed him what to do. Now he can go fishing on his own, and he can come home and eat.
Great.
Now, Remy, I hear that rhubarb is pretty abundant up there in Canada. Do you guys have rhubarb there on your property?
I have about a dozen plant right now. Yeah.
Wow.
But I have a bunch of seeds. I thought I had them here maybe, but it might be upstairs. I harvested some seeds this year, and I'm hoping to plant them all over the place. They're pretty good to spread around to stop the weeds from coming in.
So how do you harvest and prepare your rhubarb? Do you use it just for pies? Do you?
Last year, well, my girlfriend will use them in strawberry jam. So we'll do strawberry rhubarb jam and jelly. Last year, I used pretty much all the fruits I had left at the end of the season to make my own wine.
Oh,
Pretty good.
Rhubarb wine?
Yeah, well, it was rhubarb, chokecherries, blueberries, and strawberries all together, and it was too good. I ended up with 12 bottles. Lasted about 2 weeks.
Oh my goodness!
It was good.
It must have been really good.
Yeah. Oh, it was good.
Oh wow!
Does anyone know if Garden State Gardener is going live tonight?
I can look real quick.
yeah, I couldn't find any info on it. With the remaining time, you want to talk a little bit about your channel and how people can find you?
Yeah. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram, but I don't really post that much. I'll post like my milestones and things like that, a few pictures once in a while. And obviously on YouTube and the Rams family, I try to post at least once a week and do one live stream a week. In the winter, I go live twice, but this year, especially this weekend, it was too busy. I had to skip the weekend. But just for fun and numbers, last year, with everything I harvested, foraged, hunted, and all those things, I brought in about $10,000 worth of food. When you
Cool.
it's crazy.
That is great.
Yeah, and I did the numbers, not keeping in mind things that could be on sale there. Like if you buy $3 for a pound for a chicken, I did all the numbers at $3 a pound. The fish, same thing. Moose meat I compared to beef. Because you can't buy moose in the grocery store, but I did numbers, give or take about $10,000 worth of food.
That is amazing.
Wow.
You can save a lot of money for sure.
Oh, yeah.
That's super cool. Let's see. I'm going to check the chat really quick for any questions. Hey, Regina.
There's no indication one way or the other whether he's going live or not. There's not a thumbnail and there's not a community post saying he's going or not going, so it's kind of hard to tell.
Right. But on that subject, Mr. Gardner is going through a lot. His son just went through surgery. He's in the process
Major surgery.
of a job, and he's just having a ton of things going on in his life at the same time. We really appreciate if you guys can keep him in your prayers or head to his channel and play a playlist for him. Just support his channel.
We don't know if he's going live tonight or not. If he is, try and go in there and chat and talk to him. If he isn't, then watch one of his videos, comment, like, all that kind of stuff will definitely help him out because his family's going through a lot right now, and he's just a great friend. He supported everyone in the community, so we try to support him back.
That's right.
Right.
Yep.
All right. I have a few unread questions. Back when you were talking about what you guys are able to fish, were you able to look for any of these?
We have clams that we're allowed to keep and fish here. I think we're allowed 100 each.
Wow.
So usually I go and I bring the kids, as long as I think it's 2 inches long. But we'll go and maybe get a lunch or two just for fun. It's not really sustainable. There's not enough to really put them aside. Like I know some people will can them, and I see some people selling them. So every once in a while I'll go and buy a few jars. But up here, at least in the north of the province, there's not enough. We need to go a little bit lower down south. But yeah, there's a few things, snails or things like that people can harvest. Mussels and things like that. Clams and mussels are the best.
Wow, that's pretty cool. Trying to look at other questions. It's National Ice Cream Day. What is your favorite flavor?
Chocolate. I'm a chocolate guy.
What about you, Mr. Jesse?
Butter pecan.
Good
Oh,
guess.
that's the same as that.
What about you, Miss
Butter.
Lisa?
My favorite would be just plain vanilla, but put a spoonful of creamy peanut butter with it.
Oh, that's cool.
And each spoon, you have a little bit of peanut butter and a little bit of vanilla ice cream. So
I've never heard about that.
What about you?
I'm not picking up.
Yes, you are.
Come
Come on.
Not with that. I don't know.
You gotta have, if there's only one ice cream on this world left, and you wanted to eat it, what would it be?
I mean,
You
I
only
would
pick one.
probably just to spite her, but
Oh,
I
can make a
I like the
couple
strawberry cupcake. Let me try it.
that's not what I would have guessed for you. I like soft serve. Pretty simple.
And Trey, I must ask, did you go to Mass this week? Is it the Ash Wednesday? I noticed you have a little spot up on your head.
No.
Oh my gosh, that was so
I
hilarious.
just have to ask. I have to ask.
I
'cause
thought it was a
there's
mole.
people in the
but-
chat, I'm sure, saying the same thing.
Cut. I was feeding the cow, and they've got these big milk bottles. Can you go get one?
No.
They've got
I can't get out.
they've got these big, tall milk bottles.
They're
like-
at least
like
this
half
big.
gallon.
Okay.
And yeah, I make them powdered milk, and then I bottle feed them. And it was the morning, and I don't function well in the morning, so I sat down on a pallet, and I was holding the milk bottle, and just because my arms were getting tired, 'cause the cows will butt, which means they like punch the bottle with their faces, because that's the instinct they do. They butt it, and that releases more milk from the mom. So the cows naturally have that instinct to butt the bottle while they're trying to suckle on it. So it's in their mouth and they'll just butt it. So my arms were starting to get tired, and I was tired. So I balanced the bottle on my head. And the next time she butt, the rim of the milk bottle hit me right in the forehead.
Oh man.
Only try. Here we go.
This part right here. This part right
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh no.
Put that off my piano.
I can just see that on top of your head.
She's gonna wear a hat.
Yeah, Dad had me wear a hat to the fair just to cover it up.
It's gonna have to be a hard hat from now on.
No.
No, it didn't hurt that bad.
Thank you.
We're sorry.
Thank you so much to Rem's Family Farm for coming and talking about how he saves and feeds his family.
Pleasure.
Learned some really cool information. It was great to talk about fish too. Thank you for sharing your knowledge with us. Thank you to Mr. Jesse and Miss Lisa for co-hosting with us and sharing some of the stats and also asking some great questions. And to everyone in the chat, thank you guys so much for being here. We really appreciate you guys, and this collaboration would not be what it is without you. So thank you guys so much. I said guys way too much in there.
No, it was fun.
It is hello.
Not quite.
Hi, donkey.
But it is 7:03, so we're going to wrap up. But thank you guys all for coming and staying throughout the show. It was a great show, so thank you so much for being here. And have a great week. Next week is going to be the giveaway week, if I remember correctly. So that'll be a ton of fun. So make sure you guys get those comments in if you want a chance to win. Let's see. Yeah, I think that's all the points I want to make. But thank you guys so much for being here. See you next week. Have a blessed week, everyone.
Same to you.
All right, you guys have a good one. Bye, everybody.